You've been through a number of these State of the Union addresses. What should we expect? What are you expecting?
Well, unfortunately, they've devolved, and the decorum of the House and the Senate during these events has really become unfortunate. I hope that people will be serious, and that you won't have any of the, jumping up and down that has become sort of the way it works these days. I think the president, if he follows this course, which was just outlined by Eamon, of trying to reach out, find some issues that he can reach out across the aisle on, that's the right way to go. The fact is, the American people would like to see their government work, and it's pretty obvious the government isn't working right now. And there are areas where they should be able to reach agreement. But when you've got, 15 or 20 people on the Democratic side of the aisle running for his job who are going to be in the room, I think the chances of reaching agreement are slim, but at least the effort should be made.
In terms of theatrics, Eamon kind of alluded to this, the idea that it's a divided parties, two parties who are there. He's going to have a Democrat standing behind him for the first time since he's been president. Do you think that this is going to be beyond theatrics, or is this going to be half the room sitting down for the entire speech and half the room standing for the entire speech?
I think that's probably right. Hopefully he'll start out by congratulating the speaker on her position and saying, let's try to work together, and then everybody will stand and applaud for that, and that may be the last time people stand and applaud. I'm sure he'll have some applause lines, which will be very hard for people to sit on their hands. But even when George Bush was president, and I went to a number of those State of the Unions, there were a lot of people sitting on their hands. So it's just become, unfortunately, the way the event goes forward. And I do think it undermines the purpose of the speech. The purpose of the State of the Union is to give the president an opportunity to say to the American people, this is where I want to take our country, and do it in a positive, upbeat way. And when you have all these theatrics, as it was described, going on around the speech, it tends to undermine the ability to deliver that message. But that's where we are today. We're very much in a TV type of mentality, and you got a tweet society, and so this sort of thing happens.
What about when the cameras are turned off? Do you think that there is the ability for the two sides to work together on anything for this coming year? I mean, we could talk about infrastructure. There are problems with how each side kind of perceives that. You could talk about trying to lower drug prices. Maybe there's some common ground there. But do you think there's anything that these two sides can actually agree on and work towards in this coming year?
You know, you had a discussion this morning about the media, about yesterday's, I guess it was yesterday when Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders spoke to the New York Times, and you had Chuck Schumer aligning himself with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. He ran as a socialist in Vermont. And you look at the candidates who are running for president right now on the Democratic side of the aisle, every one of them is running to the left of Bernie Sanders. I just don't see that there's much ground for commonality when you basically have one party adopting a philosophy which is so far left. It is possible that there are areas where agreement should be reached. We should have an agreement on immigration. And in fact, Chuck Schumer a few years ago had a very good bill with John McCain. And we should have an agreement on infrastructure. It would be nice if we did something about the deficit and the debt. I noticed that of the 5 things he's going to address, that wasn't listed. I'd like to see us do something on that. But the chances of this occurring in a run-up to a presidential election where so many people are running so far to the left who want to have his job, I think it's slim.